Something that I've been talking about a lot lately is the subscription model and like how I feel like a lot of it is kind of scummy, especially with the Ubisoft Plus situation, which I talked about yesterday in yesterday's cup. Like, it just is kind of gross the way that certain things go, like how they're making Star Wars Outlaws $100+ for day one access with additional stuff, or you can spend $18 a month to get all of the premium stuff. This is what really is kind of weird about the Ubisoft thing is their premium tier offers quite a bit of stuff, right? They offer premium access to games. And what's premium access to games? It's not just early access, it's premium content, right? So the extra battle passes, the extra skins, all that kind of stuff, which to me seems interesting because if I'm thinking about it, like, is that tied to your account? Is that something that you are, going to be able to hold on to once time goes on? Like, how does that work? That's something that I still have yet to see, and I might have to buy and test it just to find out, or maybe look a little bit deeper. But something I've been thinking about a little bit lately is portable gaming. Something like the Steam Deck, right? I've been loving this thing. I still love this thing. And there are a few, areas that it falls shy in. Some of it being performance, other of it being, access to stuff. But the big thing that I'm curious about is, what if you went all subscription, and got something like the Legion Go or the Ally? So again, I've talked at length about how if you keep using these subscription services, you end up owning nothing, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. More than anything, or not pain in the butt, but it's lame because then you own nothing. You just have all this stuff. But I'm really curious with something like the Legion Go or the ROG Ally. Me personally, I think the Legion Go is a little bit better suited for it because the Legion Go has more power behind it and also has a little bit more accessibility when it comes to games. Come on, dude. Why isn't this timer working? Let's just say that was 5 seconds. What does that look like? Because the Legion Go allows you to have access to Epic Games, lets you to have access to the Ubisoft Plus store and stuff like that. Now, I know that stuff is possible here on the Steam Deck, but it's just not as easily done. You have to go to desktop mode, switch back and forth, which technically the Legion Go is all desktop mode. But it's interesting to me, right? I'm curious when it comes to the gaming handhelds and that kind of thing, is that worth it? How long can you go without checking into the service to get verification that you are indeed the subscriber to the very thing itself? I don't know. I haven't done it, so I can't tell you. But what I'm more curious about is, does it run well? Do these games run okay? And if you're going to really lean into this subscription style of gaming, not really owning anything, how fun would it be to spend $18, then $18 again for Game Pass Ultimate? So that's what, $36, and then on top of that, EA Play. It's $40 a month. So not a month, $40 a year. So what is that, like $3? I think it's $5. So let's just say 41. And then what else is there out there? Epic's just a loader or a launcher, so that's actually not going to work. Spend about $50 a month on top of your $750 device to play all cloud libraries and all streaming libraries. Is it worth it? I mean, are those games going to run well? Is it going to be fun? I don't know. That's kind of something to think about, right? I know that's exact opposite of what I talked about in last cup, and I totally agree. Like, I'm just trying to play all angles here. I'm trying to understand, what is this for? Who is this for? Yes, it's for console gamers. Sure, I understand that. But console gaming seems like it's becoming a little bit more of a niche product as time goes on. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because, well, demographics-wise, a lot of the gamers that started doing this are parents now. We're all having kids. And also, when it comes to these consoles, there's not a lot for us there. They promise a lot and don't deliver, and then they pretty much trail us along for a long time and say, hey, we're going to bring out something new, and then when they do, it's hard to get or whatever it may be, and it just, for me, it becomes tiresome. I just want to play video games. I just want to have fun playing video games. And these things, I think, are the best consoles that exist. I mean, right now I'm playing Sea of Stars on this. It's awesome, by the way. Sea of Stars, if you want to catch a live stream of it, I'm playing it on live at like evening times on this channel. I went from having a streaming channel to having this channel because, well, two things. One, this channel's monetized. And because it's monetized, I can receive super chats, and your memberships that you guys have actually mean something here over on this side. I just thought that having a streaming channel would be a good way, but Julian Melnick 2 will maybe be a place where I post other stuff that just isn't quite as related to this. Maybe a cooking video or something, I don't know. But live streams are here for right now as time goes on. I'm sorry about my voice, by the way. It's so jacked up. I've been coughing a bunch. I think that I'm getting better, but it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell, especially with everything going on. I know that my kids seem to be getting better, but here, let's do this real quick. This Peru has been a lot better than I was expecting. Right here, this Peru. Well, you can't actually see it. Go over here. Let's do this. Let's get this off. Excuse me. There we go. That's going to be off like so. Peru right there. Good. We looked at it. And then we're going to take this and we're going to pour some off so I can drink it, and it helps my throat feel better. Awesome. I've been thinking a lot about these portable PCs, and I strongly believe that it's the beginning of something new. They have been around for a while, but the consumer access to it hasn't been as easy, right? This being between, well, the earlier ones being $300 and $600 something odd dollars for something, the simple one, right? The Steam Deck or the Ally being inexpensive in some ways, $400 for that, which is a portable PC, essentially, right? It's a tablet top, laptop, tablet, whatever you want to say. Or the Legion Go, which is a little bit more expensive, right? It was $750 at the top end, but you get so much with it. Huge display, better optimization of the Z1 chip and stuff like that. You're just going to get better performance. It's going to be a little bit louder because the fans do kick on and they do blast, but I will say it is a beefier machine. Something that I've really learned to roll with the punches is how much work it takes to get one of these things to actually run well. Oh, that's good. With the exception of this, the Steam Deck, and this still does it. Plug and play is not the easiest, right? You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to change stuff around. You're going to have a little bit hiccups here and there. I mean, I had a game freeze on me last night on stream. It happens. That happens anywhere. That kind of thing is just what you're going to end up having to deal with. And it's an all-digital solution, so that's something you also have to deal with. But with the all-digital stuff, you do own things. So that is something that is kind of nice, I suppose. And if you want to play on a laptop, like I have borrowed my buddy's laptop, which is a gaming laptop, the Zephyrus G14 from 2022, you end up being able to start a game on the laptop, play it on the Steam Deck, dock it if you want, go over to the Legion Go, pick it up there if you want, and do everything in between. That, for me, is something that I think this style of gaming is really special, because you can do anything and everything in between. And that for me, I think, is something that I know that I talk about a lot on this channel, is the flexibility that you get with that. But I think as time goes on and gamers are starting to become real wise to what's happening in the gaming space, especially with these subscription services. Again, all subscription might be a play. I don't know. I personally don't like it. Spending, $600+ a year for nothing, but I understand. I went through the comments and I read them, and there's like, hey, what about people who just don't want to invest in a game they may not like? That's a very valid option. Star Wars Outlaws is something that I want to play because I like Star Wars. Now, everything that Disney has touched when it comes to Star Wars has been questionable in nature, with the exception of Andor and Ahsoka in some ways. There were still some things about Ahsoka I didn't love. But it was Dave Filoni's baby, so we do see that there was taken better care of than, Boba Fett, for instance, which was an atrocity, and Obi-Wan, which was handled poorly. Disney doesn't do Star Wars well. But that's because Disney is a little more concerned with what they're talking about rather than the franchise that they're taking care of. So, whatever. Whatever side of the fence you are, if you're even on the fence, That's not the conversation. The conversation is Disney is a lot more concerned about what they're saying in regards to what they believe rather than taking a franchise and actually expanding on it, doing it justice. And so I don't know what this Star Wars Outlaws game is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be just a technical flop, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's Star Wars. And so because of who I am, because I have Star Wars tattoos and I love Star Wars and I met my wife on May the 4th and there's a lot of stuff that has to do with Star Wars. I'm looking at 2 Star Wars posters right here. I have an Obi-Wan and Darth Vader moments from A New Hope, which was gifted to me by my good friend Cody. And I also have another one of a Calvin and Hobbes Darth Vader. Calvin is Darth Vader looking at Susie, who's dressed up as Princess Leia, and there's a popped balloon that says Alderaan. It's incredible. And Hobbs is, of course, Boba Fett. It's actually this picture is beautiful. At any rate, I don't know what the game's going to hold, and I want to play it. Do I want to play it for $70 and then find out that it's lame, for lack of a better word? You guys know what I'm saying. No, I don't. Is $17.99 once going to be my play? I don't know. It is a very logical way of going about things to say, hey, I'm going to try it for $18. It's like a demo, a trial. And that is actually something that I'm looking at more and more when I look at these subscription services. What if we were using them as demo services? Hey, I want to rent the game for $18. See if it's good. If it's good, I'm going to buy it. It's an expensive rental. I wish that rental stores still existed. And believe you me, when I start my coffee shop and it is a big giant warehouse, there's going to be thousands of manga there for you to read while you're in the shop. I would prefer you not take it home with you. And then games. A rental game store. Because I think that physical rental games are awesome. You can't play it on PC. I get it. PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. It's going to make things difficult. But hey, keep getting consoles because it'll be tight to have a rental store. Dude, how cool would it be if it was a retro rental store? Like you come in and you rent an N64 game. It'd be tight. I don't trust people, and people will probably try to steal my games, but whatever. We'll see. That's one of my many ideas. That, as well as Daddy Daycare. A convention dedicated to dads coming out, barbecue, video games, EDC, all hanging out. That seems pretty sick, right? Right? Yeah, eventually. We're having our first meetup, by the way. If you're in Discord, you'll know about it. If you're not in Discord, then you won't know about it. All announcements for meetups and stuff like that will only be announced in Discord because I want it to be with the people who are a part of the community, more invested in the community, people who've been there for a long time. Discord only became pay. There was only a paywall introduced in April. And so, yeah. All right. That's all my announcements. Oh, buy some merch. Okay, cool. I want to play these games. I like the idea, though, of using these subscription services as rental services. I'm glad that that's the case. But let's start looking at things the way that they honestly are going. For instance, I don't have my phone. EA Play. Not even EA Play. Let's look at PlayStation Plus Premium. By itself is an astronomical price. And then you go to its yearly price and it's significantly less. You look at applications like one that used to be very, very useful in my world, the MyFitnessPal, a fitness tracker that tracks your macros. Incredibly good. I would recommend it to anyone who is starting to try to understand their diet and figure out macro tracking and try to eat properly and change their life and better themselves. I'd recommend this app because it was otherwise very, very approachable. And then they put every single feature that can help a person behind a paywall. And this is the part that's crazy. It's $20 a month or $80 for the year. It used to be like $10 a month or $80 for the year, which is already a pretty big difference. It has always been between $69 and $79.99 a year. But listen to me. $20, $19.99 a month, or $80 for the year. That's crazy. That equates to like $6.50 or $6 something. Because $7 would be $84. I think it's 683 or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's so ridiculous. It's not just double the price. It's almost triple. And that, for me, is where this gaming space is going. It's getting so ridiculous. We're going to start seeing stuff like this happen. Granted, Game Pass Ultimate doesn't have a yearly subscription. Ubisoft Plus Premium does not have is it Ubisoft or is it Ubisoft? You guys tell me. It does not have a yearly subscription. PlayStation Plus and Premium, they do. Nintendo Switch Online, they do. All these EA Play, they do, right? I feel like this is the direction we're going to see, and we're going to start to see these purchases being made in bulk, and that's where they're going to get you. They're going to take these prices, like $18 a month. They're going to multiply that by 12, which is $206. They're going to probably drop it by, 20%, make it $160, $149.99 for the year, or $20 a month, right? That's what we're going to see. And then you're going to be like, well, I'm just going to buy it for the year. They're out a couple bucks, but all of a sudden they're getting either exponentially more money on the sub side, or they're going to be doing their thing. This is where the problem starts to trickle in. And I don't think that companies are doing this because they're trying to be scummy. I don't think that Ubisoft, whatever, or Microsoft is doing this because they're like, we want to milk gamers for every dime that they got. I don't think that's what's happening in the boardrooms. I think what's happening is games they're making are not really hitting. The introduction of the subscription model has shifted the way that people are playing games. Listen to what I said. Someone who is an advocate for purchasing your games, is saying, well, maybe if I consider using these sub-services as a rental service, it might be more viable. Just sip on that for a second. What does that mean? That means that they're doing such a good job at making a service compelling, but on the flip side, they're doing a poor job at making games compelling. Because there's been so many duds, because there's been so many issues with video games over these past years, the promises being broken, the games coming out in just terrible states, awful, and also the games being filled with just either bad gaming or just bad story, or even worse, politics. We are seeing a huge distrust with these gaming companies, so much so that live service games have become kind of the norm. Fortnite, COD, these games, people are just playing them. They hate them at times, but they're just playing them because they understand what they're going to get. With Call of Duty, you know the problems you're going to get. They've always been the same. It's going to get buggy. There's going to be cheaters. They're going to patch it. It's going to be buggy again. You're going to get cheaters. You patch it. The gameplay is always the same. Gunfights, all the same. Boom, easy. Fortnite, silly dancing, toxic gaming, simple, easy, fun, good time, whatever. I like Fortnite personally, so whatever. It's just what happens. Helldivers 2 is the only thing that's really breaking the mold, but we get one of those a decade, so we're lucky with that. I mean, when it comes to single-player narrative games, which is where I'm at, there's a plethora of games that are exciting. Sea of Stars being one of them. Even, Final Fantasy 16 being another one. Newer games. The thing is, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is incredible, but it's technically still a remake. So there's that. I give Final Fantasy 16 a giant thumbs up and a huge gold medal as a game that's new. 7, yes, they're doing new things, and sure, the story's a little bit different, but it's based on an old one, so we kind of can stick with that. What I'm trying to say is this. I don't think they're scummy for doing this. I think that what they're doing is scummy, but I don't think they're doing it intentionally to be scummy, if that makes sense. What I really think is happening is they're not making the money that they used to because they introduced the subscription service and they've completely changed the landscape at which people look at getting games. I use myself as an example. I'm no longer considering buying games full price if I can just rent it for a few bucks. Yes, it's $17, and this is where I think they're going to raise the prices again. Because people do this. People in the comments said that they do this. They're like, I just rent it when a new game comes out, play it day one, and then I'm done. Well, how do they avoid that? They make that rental $25 a month, $30 a month, and they make the yearly subscription $17 to $18 a month. That's what I see coming down the pike to make the rental seem absurd. So that now you kind of got to think to yourself, am I going to rent it for half the price of the game? Or am I going to buy it? Or am I going to play into their rental service? The problem is the game itself is still not going to be complete. They aren't. They haven't been. We've seen this issue across the board. Ubisoft, Microsoft, all these things. Starfield, people loved that game, but there were a lot of disappointments around it. It was supposed to be the game that just sealed their place in history, and it didn't. I mean, this Ubisoft merger with Microsoft seems interesting, that the Ubisoft Premium is something you can use on Xbox and on your PC back and forth, but not on PlayStation. It makes sense because Microsoft is a computer company, right? PC, whatever. So it makes sense, but interesting, right? The problem therein lies is exactly what I said. People are using these services to skirt around the very, very thing that they're trying to do. Get people locked in to some sort of subscription so that they can get money each month. Fine, 1 million people, 2 million, 3 million, however many users are using it. There's nothing wrong with the subscription model as a whole. It does, in the long run, save gamers money. The problem is the value that gets offered with these is unfortunate. They're starting to try to trap people in these things to make it more viable to them. I'm bummed because the people that are suffering the most from this, and suffering is such a terrible term to use because no one's life is worse because of subscription model video games. We could all lose video games. Arguably, it would be tough for some of us who use it as a mental rest, but here's the deal. No one's life is going to be devastated because video games don't exist. Come on now. It's just a pastime. But I will say this. When it comes to this whole thing with video games, the people who are actually paying the price for it are you and I. Because the games aren't getting better. They're getting worse. Because of the subscription model, the way that things are going, the money and the dollar amount of these games are increasing to make subscriptions more viable. But because the games are going to subscription, we're seeing early release games, beta games being released on day one with patches coming eventually. This kind of stuff happening more and more across all games in the industry. So, what do we do about it? I don't know. This is simply just a conversation I started yesterday and I've been thinking a lot about. I don't know what the answer is. Is it leaning into this because the games are going to be bad regardless and getting yourself a portable PC and just playing them all over the place? Maybe. Is it boycotting them? Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Let's chat about it. Join the Discord if you want. It is a private Discord, so you're going to have to become a dad to do so. That's the name of the channel memberships. Be a dad. And I think that's it. Join in on some of the night streams that happen, I'd say most weekday nights here. 7 p.m. Pacific is when I try to do it, and then they last for as long as they last. Okay, guys. This was nice. I enjoyed this. I'm going to try to edit this up and help my family get out the door this morning. And as always, happy gaming.